You have crypto going absolutely crazy, and XRP specifically in the last 30 minutes, 1 hour is erupting around 25%. But the question is, can this hold on? And why is this happening? Because President Trump just made a major announcement. If you go look at his True Social account, you can go see a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate the critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why the executive order on the digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on the crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, Cardano, which is ADA, and I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world and are making America great again. That is the big comment. Now we can go in and look exactly at those, and we'll go into what more of those details, what's happening there. But when you look really quickly at the overall charts of what's happening, number one, XRP getting some love. ADA Cardano might be getting the most love here. When you look at the chart, pretty remarkable. Up 40% in the last 30 minutes coming into 10:18, 40 minutes give or take, going crazy. And then you all know Solana is Tyler's favorite. I love Solana. I am a you guys know Solana is the move for me. If there's a safer one long-term, I don't know why it's not popping on Yahoo Finance, but again, coming back into that 175 region, up around 15% in the last overall, I believe, like 40 minutes, right? So that's what you want to see. Now I'm going to go over expectations on the charts, where I see us going, but kind of what's happening here. Now, a few things that I want to let you know is, number one, the stock market has been taking a hit over the past week or so. The other thing that I'll say here is that you got some good buying in the stock market to end the last hour and the last week. That was good. But it's also worth mentioning that was the end of the month. So it is important to understand hedge funds could be rebalancing. We need to get more information going into this coming week, going into March. So it's important to understand that. And why is that important? Because the stocks go down, typically Bitcoin follows. And if you look at Bitcoin's move here as well, it's been tracking back to the downside, and it's bouncing off your 200-day moving average. Now, this is one thing that I do want to talk about, is that, yes, this crypto reserve is very interesting, that he's adding XRP, Solana, ADA, but he's not adding Bitcoin as a part of the crypto strategic reserve, which, in my opinion, if you're looking at crypto, and I like Solana, don't get me wrong, you guys know I've loved Solana forever, but it's dangerous to do this because Bitcoin's the only true, like, in my opinion, safe one out of all of them. Even though I like Solana, I understand the risk there, because if you look at Solana's volatility, you just go really quick and just look at the chart. You have to understand, like, this is dramatic. Since Trump got into office around the 19th, 20th, you really dropped from 295 all the way down to 129. That's not ideal, right? So very volatile. Bitcoin has dropped as well, but just not as dramatically, right? And you're still making higher low. It still looks really, really good. But I'm not saying Solana looks bad, but things you have to identify and what's happening there. Now, this could be a part of the Made in America cryptos and the tax incentives there, but I don't know if Solana qualifies for that. So that's also really interesting. But we do know all of Sol's crypto, or all of the meme coins from Melania, Trump, etc., are all on the Solana chain, which is very interesting. So he's probably driving that meme coin narrative and trying to make money off of that and make his bet on that, right? That's what I have to assume. Now, you're not going to get any more real news on this because it literally just came out, but this is the goal of what they're doing. And again, this is what we just read as well there. The executive order signed in January, it happened in January, and then they're implementing it right now. So this is very important to understand what's happening with the bill and everything that's taking place. And that's why you're seeing this surge of volume. And if I really quickly show you just right now, you can actually see the volume coming in. You'll go to something like the 1 hour, 2 hour chart. You can see the giant surge immediately. So the question is can this volume continue? Can we see more buying going into tonight and to tomorrow? So that's what we're looking at right now. Now, again, I'm going to go over these three major cryptos: Cardano, XRP, Solana, and I'm going to give you my opinion, my favorite, why, etc. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, some people might not like this. Some people might not, and that's up to you guys. You do what you want to do. Number one, we're going to go over XRP. If you follow this channel, then you know I am not an XRP believer. I'm just not. And again, this might make people mad, but I like to stay as transparent as possible here on the channel, and I give you exactly why I do and why I don't like something. That being said, I have said, even though I don't like the crypto, if you get down to $2 to 180, it's been a buying opportunity. I have every video. You can go look back at my last XRP video every time. I don't make them often, but this has been the buy zone. You can see great reactions all the way back into December once we reclaimed this area. So very important to understand that you're finding buyers here. What I will say though is you're still operating in this overall range in between like $2.90 and $2, right? You break over this, it gets very interesting, back in all-time highs. That's awesome. Now, my problem with ADA Cardano, the idea, the hope of not ADA, XRP is cool. We replace the banking system, instant transactions, bada bing, bada boom, awesome. I think it's dumb. I think the idea that people believing that nonsense, that pipe dream, is dumb. That banks are not going to create their own currency or be a part of a new cryptocurrency that they can, number one, profit off of. Because going from a nothing crypto, which is kind of XRP, to actually working directly with these banks across, not just in one country, but every country, there's going to be a very large amount of money to be made, right? So why would banks give up that amount of money? Why would they just say, okay, we're going to partner with XRP when they can just go hire someone, do it themselves, and make more money? And again, I think investing, you have to be a devil's advocate when it comes to investing. You have to view things for, well, what's the worst case scenario? So hopefully, if that happens, I'm prepared for that scenario. And so again, that's just my visual here. And I think XRP is marketed as this thing that's going to make you billions and billions of dollars. But the reality is too, you have to, understand the market cap of XRP. If everything went perfect, I don't know if it could get past $10. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. So that's my visual there on XRP. We'll see. Do what you want. But even here with the best case scenario in the next 2-3 years, let's say 2 years, right? The best case scenario with XRP is a $10 target. That's almost a 3 to 4x. I get it. I agree. It's awesome potential. But that's if everything goes perfect and banks say, screw making as much money as I can. I'm just going to go with XRP because it's quick and easy. I don't know if that's a solution. But again, next up, at least it has, the one thing I will say is at least there is a narrative for XRP. That's a good thing. Cardano. I'm not really a fan of Cardano. To be honest, the reaction you're getting here is awesome. The question though is, can it be sustained? The last time you had a movement like this is when you had this Made in America narrative being pushed, right? And so what happened back here on Cardano, when you basically went from 40 cents to $1.30, was Trump presented an idea that he didn't want to tax trading on cryptos that are primarily, and their headquarters are basically in America, and they're doing all the developing, right? You can go more into that if you want, okay? And one of the names was Cardano. You had HBAR. You had XRP. There's a few other names, right? So important to understand that. You had your big push, and then it kind of just stagnated and, went back down, right? And what's interesting here is, December 3rd, right there. And you have to go look at Bitcoin, what Bitcoin did. When did Bitcoin eventually make highs? Was December 17th, and then also made those highs again here, January 20th. And when you go look at Cardano, it's important to understand what happened during that time period. Cardano continued to make lower highs. So it deviated from Bitcoin, meaning Bitcoin continued to go higher, Cardano did not. So if I'm trading in crypto, ideally, I want something that's following the gold standard, right? Or if you're looking at first a stock perspective, if I'm trading a stock and the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 are going straight up, then I want a stock that will follow them with that momentum, right? I want something that's almost guaranteed to follow the momentum, right? But again, it does look interesting here. If I'm looking at market cap, there is more probably upside in the short term. There's potential there, I will say. Can this reach $10? Unlikely. Could it reach $3 to $4? Potentially, right? If this narrative continues to push. The problem is the use case for it, right? And again, I'm going to explain why I like the last one so much, and hopefully you guys understand. If you don't understand, ask questions. I'd love to answer them. But what I will say is I'm open to being wrong. The thing that I'm not open with is just saying something as fact and then discounting and not having an educated conversation about, right? That's the problem primarily with the crypto space, is someone says something, they take it as gospel, and then they don't want to have a conversation about it, right? That's Cardano, right? Again, a little bit less of a narrative than, well, there is a lot less of a narrative than XRP. However, market cap, things like that, I'm not going to lie to you. There could be used for the same thing right now. People are going to get mad. It is what it is. Solana is my top dog. Solana has been my top dog. I'll explain why. And I think it's interesting that when you look at what's happening here as well, with Donald Trump and what they're doing with the crypto reserve, that Solana is the name being added to this, despite these other names being the America cryptos, right? Very, very interesting. And he's not doing Ethereum. He's not doing Bitcoin. This is very interesting what he's doing here. So let's talk about Solana. Now, I'll tell you the bad about Solana first. Number one, very, very, very volatile. Very. It is. It has been very volatile, especially since Trump got in office. Okay. You had your nice bull flag basically from March all the way into November. You shot up, you made new all-time highs at $300, and you came crashing back down. Now, there's key levels you have to watch here on the chart that you should be looking at for a breakout to the upside. But let me tell you why I like Solana, why I think there's a legitimate narrative there where if Bitcoin goes up, Solana will go up. So number one, let's go look at what happened with Bitcoin. Remember, it was December 15th when Bitcoin made a high, and then January 20th when Bitcoin made its high again. Okay, it's next all-time high. So 14th, 15th, the 17th, and then the 20th. We go back to Solana. Look what happened there. Again, getting a visual. You broke up. This was November 25th, December 17th. You kind of were pulling back here. You came down. You got back up. And then around January 19th, January 20th, you actually made it high. So it did deviate for a while here. Most cryptos did except Bitcoin, but it still deviated, which isn't what you want to see. And then you see it get back on track, follow Bitcoin right back into highs, made a new high here, outperformed Bitcoin in that week, and then kind of came crashing back down, falling down, which is following Bitcoin and cryptos to the downside. Very interesting, but obviously more volatile to the downside. I think you've lost, give or take, since highs $300, you've almost lost 50%, over 50% of your value, right? Very, very volatile, okay? Now, why do I think there's a legitimate narrative with Solana? Now, maybe this passes, but let's talk about what happened a few times. So not only is there one narrative, but there's multiple now. So if you go back, and I think looking at the past is the number one thing you can do for most cases of investing. So if you go back on Bitcoin, and you've had these really nice pops here, this is over the past few years, right? This is 2021, and this is your most recent rally. If you go back to 2020, 2021, right? 2022, well, what was the narrative on Bitcoin? Bitcoin was doing really good. But what was the one thing in the background that was like, it was a clear like bubble, it was overvalued, but like what was it? It was NFTs. And NFTs were primarily being done through Solana and Ethereum, right? Ethereum had a monster run, but Solana was like the quiet dog in that race, if you remember. Again, so when we go back to Solana, again, really quick, you just really quickly go look, and Ethereum's underperforming a lot this past run if you are unfamiliar. But Solana went, obviously came out, got added to Coinbase, and then this thing went from $35 into $258, $260. Massive run, which again, it got talked about, but it wasn't talked about as known as Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc. Now Solana is known by, the president's buying it in the crypto reserve, right? And so you go back down to 21 and you shoot back up to 300. Okay, that's what's happening there. So the first cycle, it was that NFT narrative with Ethereum. Now what's happened here? So everyone talks about alt season. They say, well, altcoins run this, and that. We really didn't see an alt season this go around, right? Maybe it's coming. Who knows, right? Maybe I could be wrong, right? We didn't really see it. We maybe in last February 2024 we saw it, but we didn't see it more recently from November into now. What we did see is meme coins go crazy, and I'm not telling you to buy meme coins. I'm not telling you to do that. But if you look at it from a logical point of view, you look at how can I have exposure, because I think meme coins will stay around, right? You just had the SEC come out and say most meme coins are not securities, which let me tell you, if you're a security, there's a lot of rules and regulations, a lot of bad things can happen. So you have the SEC addressing this as well. So how can I have exposure to people doing what they do best, defrauding others potentially, creating this idea of I can make money quick, go on these runs, etc. Which I'm just saying, Trump made a meme coin. The president of the United States made a meme coin. You're seeing all these celebrities are doing it. So how can you have exposure to that? Because you know that's going to keep happening, but you don't want to have the risk necessarily. And that's Solana, because all these meme coins are being created from the Solana chain. I don't want to give you a education crash course to crypto, but that's what's happening. If you want to understand how they're being created on there, sorry if you're a boomer watching this, but basically all I can say, right? They're being built on the foundation of Solana, not Ethereum, not anything else. Very important to understand. And I think that will continue. I personally do. And it's interesting to see that Solana is that one chain that really made the leap, right? So from your past, high you made back here in 2021, it went down, obviously, and it came back, and it made another innovative leap. And I'm not saying there's a person behind this or a team that's like, okay, well, we're going to meme coins now, but it's just the chain overall. Ethereum did not make that leap. Ethereum is making, again, if you're looking at stocks, you're making lower highs, less momentum, less overall strength. Now, could Ethereum break back up? It could, totally could, right? I'm not going to say it can't, but I think Solana just provides more interest. And I know a lot of you guys are like, well, I want to make more money. And if you're going into crypto, I think you're already going into a mentality of like, look, if I'm buying this crypto, I got to be prepared to lose all my money. I'm just saying that has to be some sort of your logic. So when I look at what's happening here, that's my viewpoint. That's my logic. I think Solana makes the most sense. I'm very shocked, honestly, that Trump added this to the crypto reserve over some of the other made in America cryptos. But yeah, now as far as levels I'm watching, I want to see us get back above like 180, 175, start pushing back into 210, over 210. You're starting to push back into that previous all-time high that you had back from 2021, which is 260. So you basically have 3 overall big building blocks and stairs that I would be watching, okay? You're 175, which I think could happen sooner than later, especially if the stock market starts to bounce as well, and especially if Bitcoin bounces. Because in my opinion, again, the chart looks shockingly similar to Bitcoin, Solana, so that's what you want to see as well. You want to see there to be a correlation. You don't want to see a lot of deviation, in my opinion. You want them to be pretty similar. So if I'm owning Solana and I see Bitcoin going down, I'm like, okay, that's fine. It is what it is. The market's just down, right? If I own, for instance, Apple stock, and I see the S&P 500 is dropping as well, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Apple's dropping, the S&P 500 is dropping. It is what it is. The market's just down, right? There's no like, oh, this is just a bad stock. No, the S&P 500 is weak as well. That's how you have to view this. It's my opinion, what I'm looking at. I'm sure people will disagree with me. That's okay. That's why we all have our opinions. That's the point of the channel. Have a good one, traders.